Hello, good people, and welcome to Hillbilly Cat History, where we explore the times, events, and people surrounding Elvis Presley. Thank you for choosing this video. In today's episode, we take a short break from our main series to introduce episode 1 of Hillbilly Cat Trek, Elvis Battles Kirk in the Cage for the voice which filled a universe. Hillbilly Cat Trek is an enterprising exploration into the countless unknown connections between the most popular science fiction television and movie series franchise of all time and the greatest entertainer the world has ever known. Join us as we go boldly where no Elvis fan has gone before. And remember, when you watch the video, be sure to stay tuned until the end to see today's puzzle piece revealed. Anyone who has seen the 2022 Baz Luhrmann major motion picture Elvis might have noticed the multiple visual references to Star Trek, the original series, scattered throughout the film, particularly on the walls of the interior of the NBC studios in Burbank, California. What does Baz Luhrmann know about Elvis and Star Trek that the average fan doesn't? Where exactly do Star Trek and Elvis intersect in the historical timeline? It all begins with the very first Star Trek episode, the pilot, an episode very few ever saw as it was never aired on television prior to the 1980s, similar to Elvis's first 1953 acetate, My Happiness, which almost no one heard until decades later. And of course, it all begins with the music. After all, this is Elvis. Written and produced by the great bird of the galaxy himself, Gene Roddenberry, The Cage was the pilot which started a television behemoth that continues to produce popular Star Trek series to this day, with a fan base rivaling Elvis's own. Gene knew he needed a memorable theme song, eventually giving the musical project to Alexander Courage. A young composer eager to prove his talent, Alexander wrote a masterpiece, a theme recognized around the world today. And you can hear that theme on YouTube. Alexander wrote the music, but he did not write lyrics. In order to exploit a royalty loophole which the inexperienced composer left unguarded, Gene wrote lyrics which he submitted with the song to the performance rights organization which paid out royalty earnings. Gene began legally collecting half the royalties every time the theme was performed in public, which was every time Star Trek was shown on television. Alexander lost out on a lot of money. Gene made a lot of money. If you'd like to hear Alexander tell this story in his own voice with his own words, you can on YouTube. Even worse, the lyrics were horrendous. Alexander brought in the amazing soprano vocalist Loulie Jean Norman, but even she could not make these lyrics sound acceptable. In desperation, Alexander requested Loulie to sing in a wordless vocalization, which was the perfect companion to his memorable composition. During the original run of the Star Trek series, 5 different versions of the theme were used. The first used Loulie Jean Norman's wordless performance. The second replaced Loulie with an electric violin. The third version used a cello instead of a violin. When the title visuals were changed, adding an extra title card to announce DeForest Kelley as Dr. McCoy, the theme was recorded with a new arrangement, bringing back Loulie. The 5th and final version continued to feature Loulie's voice, taking the journey full circle. Loulie Jean Norman, whose voice no Star Trek fan can ever forget, is the Elvis connection. An accomplished vocalist, Loulie had a long career full of performances which fans who do not even know her name love to this day, including as a voice double for Juliet Prowse in 1960's GI Blues for the on-screen performance of Pocketful of Rainbows, written by Fred Weiss and Ben Wiseman. And if you'd like to hear Pocketful of Rainbows, you can on YouTube. Ben Wiseman wrote 57 songs, more than any other songwriter recorded by Elvis Presley, including Moonlight Swim for Elvis's top-grossing motion picture, Blue Hawaii. On June 14th, 1961, Loulie Jean Norman overdubbed backing vocals for Moonlight Swim, with post-production processes merging the two performances as if the duo had sung in the same room together. However, due to the scheduling necessities of audio recording for a movie soundtrack, Elvis and Loulie may have never actually met in person, even though now their voices are together in the hearts of Elvis fans everywhere. And if you'd like to hear Loulie sing Moonlight Swim, you can on YouTube. Born in Birmingham, Alabama, Loulie discovered she was a gifted soprano with a 4-octave range, eventually moving to New York City in an effort to break into the radio industry as a singer. Disney fans will note Loulie provided the voice of the female partner, Harriet, of the opera singers, who are also referenced as the Phantoms of the Opera, featured in the world-famous Haunted Mansion. Loulie Jean Norman passed away on August 2nd, 2005, in Studio City, California, at the age of 92, forever remembered by Elvis and Star Trek fans, if not by name, by a voice never silenced. Loulie is not the only Elvis connection in the cage, but we pause here to continue our 5-year mission in the next installment of Hillbilly Cat Trek. And if you'd like to see an amazing fan drawing of Elvis meets Star Trek, you can on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe so you do not miss the next episode. And if you know an Elvis fan or a Star Trek fan that you think would enjoy this story, please share. Thank you for joining Hillbilly Cat History as we explored this piece of the Elvis Presley puzzle. Stop on by anytime so we can chat again.